In this video, you're going to learn the biggest campaign-killing, budget-destroying Facebook ad campaigns that I see people making all the time, and I'll teach you how to avoid making them. Often these mistakes also lead to people going around and around in circles, struggling to find success with their ads because the mistakes are keeping them there and they're not allowing them to progress and gradually improve, which is really the key with Facebook ads. You really want to start running ads, collect data, improve, collect more data, improve, until you're at a point where your return on ad spend is better than where you need it to be, right? If you're not doing that process of gradual improvement, if you're not following that because of these simple mistakes, then you end up just in this perpetual cycle, and that's where you do not want to be. So the first mistake you need to avoid is not liking this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, click the like button, but seriously, it means a lot. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and it really helps me grow the channel. So it's really appreciated if you do give that like button a tap. And if you want to hear more from me, hit subscribe and hit the little bell. All right, so the first mistake is people start running Facebook ads and they have no structure when they're testing. So it goes something like this usually. People will jump in, they'll get a bunch of images or creative ready for their ads. They'll write a few pieces of copy at best, maybe one or two pieces, and then they'll go and set those up and run a test. They'll turn off the ones that don't work, and then they'll just go throw something else in, like let's say some new images or some new videos or maybe a new piece of copy. The problem with this is often those tests aren't run with any kind of thought or structure behind them. So it's just going, well, that didn't work, let's throw some more spaghetti and hope that sticks, and then just keep throwing spaghetti. What you want to actually do is collect data, use that data to decide what test you want to run next, and then bring in new creative copy, headlines, whatever it is, based on that data. So let me give you an example here. You can always see within your data what you should test next. I've got a video on that. I'll put a link now. It should pop up above, and I'll also link to it at the end of this video so you can go watch that after. That's going to help you understand how to look at your data and how to make decisions on what to test next based on that. So there's a whole video on that to watch. But a few examples here, right? If your click-through rate all is really low, that tells me straight away that it's either the creative or the headline, or maybe the first 3 lines of my copy, but it's likely creative or headline, because if my click-through rate all is low, it means that people aren't even stopping and engaging with my ad at all. So the image or the creative or that headline isn't doing its job. So I don't have to worry about my audience. I don't have to worry about my landing page. I don't have to worry about my main body copy at that point. I can just test those things, right? So it tells me, okay, that's what I need to test. Likewise, if my click-through rate all is good, but my link click-through rate is really low, well, that tells me people are starting to read my copy. They're clicking that see more button because my click-through rate all is high, but they're not clicking my link. So there's something in my copy that isn't doing its job. It's not getting them to click that link, go to my landing page and do whatever other action I want, okay? That tells me don't worry about the image or the video or the creative. Don't worry about the headline at this point or the intro or the hook in my copy. Worry about the main body of my copy and getting more people to click that link. Okay, so that's the first thing. Take a structured, intelligent approach to testing and make decisions based around what's coming in. It's a huge mistake I see people making all the time. The second piece of this is writing down and coming up with a hypothesis for your tests. Now, a hypothesis is simply going, okay, I'm going to test a new image, for example, because my click-through rate all is low, because I've only tested 2 images. So I think if I test a new image or a series of new images, that should get people to stop the scroll more often, get people to click my ad more, and therefore read my copy more and go through. So you need to look at the data, come up with new tests, and then craft a hypothesis around your new test. This is how the professionals do it. So the next little piece of this testing mistake is not documenting what you've done. After you're running ads for a long time, you'll start to realize that you forget what you've tested, why you tested it, and what your thought process was when you were doing things. So simply having a document, I like Notion, which is the app that I use to take notes, and taking notes against the campaigns and saying, on this date, this is what I changed, this is what I tested, this is why. Taking those notes means you can go back and read through them and understand and keep a record of why you did what and when, so that you're not repeating yourself. It's a huge mistake if you test something 2 months ago and then you run so many tests in between, you forget that you tested something or why you tested something, and so you go and do it again. It's literally just on the hamster wheel. You're doing the same thing, spending money that you don't need to spend because you've already got the answers that you're going to get from the test you're running if you've done it before. Okay, so documenting that, really, really important. Right, so moving on now to number 2 of the 5 mistakes. So this one is undervaluing creativity. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that most people don't really sit back and think about how they can be really creative in their advertising campaigns. Okay, a lot of people will go and they'll look at competitors, or they'll just go into the Facebook ad manager, they'll start setting up an ad, and they'll go into the stock images section that Facebook now gives us, and they'll choose an image from there on what comes into their head at first attempt, right? That lack of creativity means that you end up just blending in with everybody else who has the same lack of creativity. So think about this. If you're just going into the stock image library when you set up an ad and picking an image that you think matches your messaging, and so are 50% of the other advertisers, and some of them are even picking the exact same images as you, what do you think happens? You end up looking just like all of them. And if you look just like all of them, you blend in and people just keep scrolling past you because you look like 50% of the other ads they see. The same thing happens if you simply go through the news feed or through the ad library, look at your competitors and go, well, they've got a photo of themselves with a bit of text overlaid, so I'm going to do the same. And then you do that. And then what happens is you look the same as everybody else. You blend in, you stand out as an ad and just blend in with all the other ads. No one clicks, right? So you need to really think creatively about this. And I'm not saying don't do things that others are doing just for the sake of being different. But what I'm saying is find ways to differentiate yourself, okay? Find ways to stand out, and that's where you'll really succeed. If you're always trying to think creatively, if you're always trying to put a different spin, a different twist, do something a little differently, you will do so much better than your competition. You will stand out and you will outperform. So think creatively, do things differently. One part of this creativity piece is to use variety. So in addition to not being creative, people aren't using variety. They might go in and, like I said, choose 2 or 3 images from the stock images that Facebook makes available to us for free. And that's their test. And it's 3 different stock images. It's a person at a desk, it's a person shaking hands at a meeting, and it's a person standing up pointing at a whiteboard, right? 3 of the stockiest stock images I could think of off the top of my head right there. What's going to happen is those 3 images are probably going to underperform, and they're all really similar, right? It's essentially the same boring thing. It's just 3 people standing in different ways in suits doing different things. But there's no real differentiation. One tip that I'll give you to instantly boost this sort of amount of variety that you have in your ads is do this. Have one image ad, have one video ad where you're talking to the camera or somebody's talking to the camera, have one slideshow ad, so where it's a series of cards or slides that slide across, maybe with some music or maybe with your narration. Usually music is great, and just lots of text on those slides. And then also have one carousel ad. So one of those ads with multiple images that people can swipe through, okay? If you just make yourself inside every ad set, have 4 ads, image, video, slideshow, and carousel, that instantly adds variety and it's going to force you to be creative, okay? So that's a great way to avoid this mistake of falling into the pattern of being the same as everyone else and just lacking creativity. All right, mistake number 3 of the 5, another big one here. This is not researching your audience or your target customer deeply enough. People go through and they do this like, oh, here's the avatar worksheet, fill in the avatar worksheet. And it's like name, age, gender, what do they like? What don't they like? What are their pain points? And people just fill in one of these avatar worksheets and they're like, cool, off I go. I'm going to do my thing. Honestly, it just doesn't give you the level of depth to write great copy and to come up with great angles for your ads. You need to go deeper into this process. And what I mean by that is really researching who they are, but also where are they in the buying process. So if you've read Breakthrough Advertising, great book, highly recommend reading that book. Breakthrough Advertising talks about the stages of awareness. And basically what you want to do is target people who are solution aware. So you want to go after a person, not who's completely unaware of their problem, right? If they're unaware, problem unaware, it means they don't know they've got a problem. So that means if you're targeting that person, somebody who doesn't even know they've got a problem, then that means you've got to educate them on the fact that they've got a problem. Then you've got to educate them on the fact that, well, there are solutions out there. Then you've got to educate them and sort of get them to believe that your solution is the best solution. And then you've got to get them to actually buy the solution. There's so many steps in that journey. It's a long way to take somebody who just this morning was sitting there not even knowing they had a problem to understanding they've got a problem and wanting a solution and buying your thing, right? That's a huge leap. But if you just go, well, I want to target Jane who's 27 and she lives in Australia and she likes this and doesn't like that, then you're not thinking about that. And so you end up inadvertently writing copy that targets people who aren't in the right space, the right place. So let's look at this instead. Let's think about somebody who is what we call solution aware. This is somebody who knows they've got a problem and they know there are solutions available in the market, but they don't necessarily know about your solution. So they're actively looking for solutions to their problem. That fact alone means that there are things that are holding them back from buying a particular solution because they would have done it already. So research, if they know what the solution is, why haven't they bought? What's going on in their head when they think of taking that next step and buying something? What are they doubting when it comes to the solutions that are already out there? What are they hesitant about? How can you speak to that and help overcome that in your copy? Okay? If they're solution aware, it means they're much closer to buying. So understanding, why haven't they bought yet? What is it that they're really looking for? The next thing I want you to think about is what emotions drive them. Are they driven by fear? Are they driven by jealousy? Are they driven by greed? Are they driven by joy? Are they driven by excitement? If you start to pick an emotion and write copy based around that emotion, that's going to help you as well, okay? So start to think about your avatar in more detail. Think about where they are in the buying process, and I highly recommend developing avatars that are solution aware. They know there are solutions. They're not product aware yet. They don't know about your product, but they're solution aware and they're actively looking for a solution. Think about that person. Think about why they haven't purchased yet and how can you talk about that in your copy. Think about what it is that their ideal solution would look like and how can you frame copy around that and paint your solution in that light. Make them realize yours actually fits the ideal solution they're looking for. Okay, start to think about that and then start to think about what emotions can you really try and evoke in your copy that drives this particular avatar. Okay, a lack of avatar research, it's a huge mistake, okay? And it's easy to make because people want to get ads up quickly. But by going in and doing this work up front, you'll get much, much better results. You can learn this as well. People put this out there into the world. Look at forums. Read things like Amazon reviews on books around the topic. Go to Facebook groups and hang out there and just learn. Just soak all of that information up. See what people are saying. Interview people. If you've got people in your audience, ask to jump on a call and chat with them. And that's going to help you write and craft much better Facebook ads, much more effective Facebook ads that will dramatically improve your results. Which then leads really nicely into the fourth mistake that I see, and that is poor copywriting skills, okay? Nobody is born a great copywriter. Nobody just woke up and had the ability to write copy that sells, okay? It just doesn't happen. It's a skill. You've got to practice, you've got to learn it. Most people will jump into the ad manager, however, and just sit there for 10 minutes and write up an ad inside the ad manager and go, great, there's my copy, submit, let's run these ads and see how we go. Investing in building your skills as a copywriter is the best thing you can do as an advertiser, in my opinion. It's probably the best thing you can do in your business as a whole, because becoming a better copywriter means you can write better ads, you can write better landing pages, you can write better sales pages, you can write better emails. And all of those things, if you can improve your copy on your ads, then obviously more people are going to click and engage with your ads. You can write better landing pages, which means more people are going to convert into leads. Write better sales pages, more people convert. Write better emails, more people convert. Copywriting is one of those skills, one of those few skills that is going to help you across the board in an online business. So that's the fourth mistake, is just jumping in and trying to write ads without realizing that you need to build this copywriting skill. Start reading books. Breakthrough Advertising, as I said, is one of the best ones out there. Plus, I'll put a few more in the description if you want to check out some of the best copywriting books I've seen. I've also got a video on how to write copy. Link above, as always, if you want to go check that out as well. But start studying copywriting. Start learning the skill of copywriting. It's going to help you dramatically. Before we move on to number 5, if you're liking these tips, can you just hit the like button for me? It really helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and I really do appreciate it. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell. You'll get notified when I release a new video and when I do Facebook Lives just for my subscribers. All right, number 5 on the list is giving up and changing and throwing one strategy out the window for another one way too quickly. The way to really succeed with Facebook ads is that, as I said before, the gradual process of improvement. But what so many people do is they'll try something, they might run 2 or 3 rounds of tests, and they'll say, this doesn't work, I'm throwing this Facebook ad strategy out the window, I'm going to try a completely new strategy. And they'll listen to some video or they'll go through some training and hear of a different Facebook ad strategy. And so they'll throw everything out the window and they'll try to implement this new strategy. And they'll run that for 2 weeks and it won't work. And so they'll throw that out the window and they'll bring in the latest strategy that they've just heard somewhere else on a podcast or whatever. The problem is, all of those strategies will probably work if you take the time to really understand and optimize them. If you just look at the numbers and go, okay, this is the part that's not working, I need to improve my click-through rate. This is the part that's not working, I need to fix this, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, if you just focus on one thing and focus on optimizing it, know your numbers, know which numbers you need to improve and work until you get there, you will actually, although it seems counterintuitive, you'll get there a lot faster by just focusing on one thing and optimizing it than if you keep jumping around. Because every time you make a big jump to a new strategy, a big jump to a new approach, then you're starting from 0 and you have to optimize again. There is no miracle cure, all right? If somebody else, if a bunch of people are managing to succeed with one strategy and they're in the same business, have the same sales process as you and everything else, chances are it would work for you as well once you figure it out and optimize it. Jumping around though and chasing the, I don't even know what the word is, chasing the carrot, right? Whatever it is, it just won't work. Okay, stick to one thing, stay focused, optimize it, get what you have already in place, get it working, get it running like a well-oiled machine. That's how you succeed with Facebook ads, not jumping around and changing strategy every week. Okay, yes, sometimes you need to change. Sometimes things just don't work. If you really tried to optimize and you can't even see progress, fine, it might be time. But what I'm talking about here is when people just jump and change once every few weeks, once every month, once every 2 months, whatever. And they can never seem to get it to work. The problem is likely the fact that they're changing all the time versus the fact that none of these strategies work. All right. So with that, I hope that this helps you avoid these mistakes, helps you get better results with your Facebook ads. Thank you for watching as always. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.